Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to States of the Federation. I'm your host, Delta Angel Fire, and once again, I am joined by my magnificent co-hosts, David and Tucker. Why don't you go ahead and say hi, guys?
Hi, guys.
I knew that
We
was
are
coming.
the Borg. The Borg are amazing.
No, you did that last week. You don't get to do it again.
It's my catchphrase.
Your catch jingle.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys, but welcome to another episode of State of the Federation. This is episode 17, and today we are going to be discussing two more of the Resistance's futile boosters and the Portland Regional Championship. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
I hope it sounds good because we're doing it anyway.
I hope you all like it because you're going to get it and you're going to like it, and that's it. Or you'll be assimilated, which is always fun. But yes, all right. And with that, I say, what the heck, let's just jump right into it. So the first thing we're going to look at today is our lovely Ferengi blind booster. This was actually the blind booster used in the championship list that we got from Portland, which we'll see later this evening. And it has quite an interesting mix of cards. It is nice that it is our first Ferengi ship that we can get, on a more regular basis. Not a full price ship, but not a full retail ship either. I mean, as far as the Ferengi faction goes in general so far, what do you, my illustrious co-hosts, think so far?
I think that Ferengi are one of those factions that have a lot of tricks up their sleeve. Ferengi missiles, conditional surrender, and they have potential to be good. They just need more stuff. They're a faction I want to like. So I'm withholding judgment, but I like what they have so far.
Mm-hmm. Everyone wants to love the giant-eared little trolls, right? Tucker, what do you think so far?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I look at Ferengi and I see a faction that has no mechanical identity at all. In other words, if let's say I open a, I don't know, let's say Attack Wing came in booster packs, may it never happen,
Mm-hmm.
And let's say they were separated by factions. You could get like a Federation booster pack or a Ferengi booster pack. WizKids, if you're listening, don't do this. Anyway, so let's say you could do that. If I opened a Federation pack, I'd have a pretty good idea of what I was getting. If I had a Vulcan pack, to use a minor faction, I would have a very good idea of what I was getting. If I had a Ferengi pack, I have no goddamn idea what I'm going to be getting, except maybe attack die bonuses? Question mark? Like that? I don't know. Bad attack die bonuses. I mean, the Creighton's okay, but the rest of them are just, I don't know.
If only we had some way to bring Latinum into the game.
God, right? But no, as it is, it's like in fact, there does seem to be one common theme, which is trading actions for one attack die, which seems bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So.
Oh, and murdering your own captain, which also seems bad.
Sacrificing your own captains and/or crew. A lot. Selling them out to the highest bidder.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the ship. Our unique version for the blind ship is Box Marauder. People might remember this from the same episode we got the Stargazer from, where Bach was mind controlling Captain Picard. His Marauder, on the other hand, has the following. Well, it has stats of 3-1-4-3, same as the other unique Marauder. I believe the upgrade slots are the same. 1 tech, 2 weapons, 1 crew. I'm not certain of that. The other one might have only had 1 weapon.
No, that's correct. On the named Creighton, it is tech, weapon, crew.
Gotcha. For 22 points, of course, standard. Does not have a battle stations action, but does have the evade, target lock, and scan. And man, lacking battle stations just sucks all around for the most part. But beside that, since we already knew that was a problem from a lot of the early ships, if you performed a maneuver of 3 or higher this round, during the roll attack dice step of the combat phase, you may add +1 attack die. If you do, place an auxiliary power token beside your ship. So, nice in that this isn't technically an action, and being able to trade auxiliary power tokens for other kinds of effects is pretty cool. Downside, the maneuver has to be 3 or higher. It's not exactly conducive to jousting. You go in one turn, and then the next turn you're out behind them. You know, does sound about right for you, Tucker?
Yeah, I mean, unlike something, I mean, the thing about this is that as, oh no, I'm wrong about the timing. I see. The problem is if you want to go out behind them, you're not getting an action. You can't go straight up to them and then do a 3 come about because that's red.
And it doesn't even have a 3 come about.
It doesn't have a 3. I hate this ship. I'm sorry, I hate this ship.
It has a 1 reverse.
A 1 reverse.
Which you also can't use with this for a number of reasons. Yeah, this is, I don't like this ship. I don't know, it just seems like an auxiliary power token with, I mean, yeah, you can like throw on refit Scotty, but that's your only crew slot. You can throw on auxiliary power, whatever, the Vulcan one. Yeah, or the other Vulcan one. Spoiler alert, there's another Vulcan one coming up down the line. But it just doesn't, I mean, that's your only tech slot, and it takes an action to do every turn. So effectively, you're paying an action for an attack die. Or, you know, you're using green maneuvers, but this doesn't have a green 3 forward, so you can only even do this every other turn. I'm just not impressed. I'd rather have the Creighton's ability. It takes an action and a disabling of the shields, but you get to reroll as well. So to me, it works out.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm. The Creighton's one is nice because it's kind of like a soft target lock that you don't need someone else to be uncloaked for.
Exactly. Whereas this is like, well, I can get an extra power token and gimp my action economy for next turn. Great. Yeah. Let me get right on that.
David, can you think of anything good for this ship?
Not offhand.
Yeah, because when I look at this, I try to see, well, how can I use this ability? And when you were talking about the green maneuver problem, I mean, you could throw. My idea here would be to throw on original Enterprise checkoff, so you can.
The one that came with the Reliant pack.
Oh, was it Reliant?
Yeah.
Okay, that checkoff. So that every time you do a 3 maneuver, you can still remove a power token. Beyond that, also throw in, since this is a ship with only a 9-degree forward arc, throw a dorsal weapons array on there as well, and that would get you your you would still be able to attack every turn, even when you're blowing by them, since you can't aim really well when you're moving that fast, trying to keep people in arc, and you'd still have your action to re-enable the dorsal every turn.
Yeah. Hold on a second. Ooh. Or I guess for this ship it doesn't matter, but you could there's a certain upgrade from a certain preview ship that a certain Ferengi could get on this ship. Just realized that.
Something about Quark and from the New Wave?
Yeah.
The new upcoming phaser array?
Yeah. You could do that.
That might work. It depends on if Quark is still limited by things that are forbidden by faction. It'd be tough, but
if it works, it's cute. I like it.
We love cute.
That would actually make this ship playable.
Well, no, I mean it's actually because it's got a 3-point attack. Dorsal Weapons Array is better. It's just that Will was complaining about this card before the show, so I was just trying to think if you could get it on.
without trying to use some fancy shenanigans for stealing it on there.
Yeah. And
But
by
yeah.
the way, Will, I'm pretty sure that if Quark doesn't have that restriction, which is an important thing to discuss, by the way, when we're talking about this ship. I mean, another thing that people are talking about, and this is very viable for the ship, is can you put Quark with the non-unique combat vessel variant under this? In other words, can you turn this ship into a 4153, which is better, especially considering its ability?
I see. That'd be neat, but then we're still lacking a crew slot. Again, if you take Quark, we're lacking a crew slot for Chekhov.
At that point, I
Flagship?
wouldn't feel too bad about flagshipping or fleet captaining this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you flagship this with +1 attack die, +1 hull, +1 shields, then effectively you're looking at a 6-1-6-4, which is pretty good, let me tell you.
For all of 34 points.
Yeah, that's 6-1-6-4. That's actually exactly the point cost that would be indicated for a 34-point ship. That's not counting the free evade you'd get, and that's so stupid.
So here's what I have to say about that, and it's that if Quark and Combat Vessel upgrade works, it works on any ship. So no matter how impressive we get a single ship stats, there will be another ship that started more impressive that will be even further more impressive beyond that.
Right, but this is Ferengi faction pure, Will. You don't understand. Sorry,
All
I
right,
can't believe I just said that.
Maybe that counts. I guess I guess we will see in the near future. But beyond that, sticking to the things that we can absolutely prove without a doubt that will work.
Yeah.
There are some things that work together that could help out. Generally.
Mm-hmm. I mean, look, if you wanna make this into a 4-1-5-4 for your Ferengi faction pure craziness, it'll go up to 5-1-5-4, and there are worse things in the world than that.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
All right. Let's see. Next on the list, Captain Bach. Putting Bach on Bach's Marauder. He's not a chicken. But
I'm sorry.
skill 6. 4 squadron points, comes with a talent, so pretty standard there. Action, gain +1 attack die to each of your attacks, and roll -1 defense die each time you defend this round. So, I definitely see this working pretty well with pretty well with the Ferengi missile upgrade, since you get multiple attacks out of that from the Kraton. But beyond that, David, any ideas?
I mean, the only thing becomes that he combos with his ship, and you can get up to 5 attack dice.
If you do the 3 maneuver and his for the action.
If you're not doing multi-attacking, he's not worth it. I mean,
right.
Plus, look, let me put it this way. Nobody in the goddamn world runs Admiral Ducat for the action, and he gives a better action than this to your entire fleet if you're only doing 1 attack.
Yes.
Because there's no drawback.
Right.
There's no drawback for him. There's a drawback for this.
Right. And now, the missile launchers, on the other hand, that does make them pretty potent. I'm pretty on board with adding plus to make missile launchers 3 dice each.
One of them 4 with the ship's named ability.
Yeah, if you're using the Marauder as well.
Yeah.
So you could have a 4/3 with crits that ignore shields. It's not bad, but again, you're lacking a lot of reroll ability there to actually get those crits.
Yeah, that's true, but I mean, think about it this way. I mean, that's a strategy that natively gets around William Verrill. For all of, I mean, if you want to put it on a generic Ferengi ship, for all of 25, 26 points, how much is Bach?
4.
4 points. He's not worth 4 points. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, 20. It would be 27 points to get that all working.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's probably not worth it.
So really, Bach, I mean, you could try to find some way to get multiple attacks in to take the most of his ability, since, I mean, that's generally what we're going for here. But, I mean,
Okay,
beyond,
wait.
like...
I got it. Volley of torpedoes chain.
That is exactly what I was going to say.
Ah.
Beyond volley of torpedoes.
While we're at it, let's have Denatra on another ship nearby.
The problem is, if you... Well, I guess you could use him with the weapon fleet captain to make your volley of torpedoes work with Sakona and still have only 3-point volley of torpedoes. But generally with volley of torpedoes combos, you need Thought Gore for his point reduction as your captain instead.
Yeah. But it's something to imagine.
Indeed, especially if people ever start running builds that actually have more than one ship again.
Yeah, and it's not, I mean, to be fair, there are much better captains for it, though. I'm pretty, let me just, yeah, Worf is much better, for example.
Everyone likes Worf. That's why he
Worf
dies
is
first.
amazing.
All right. So I think that does it for Bach. Let's see what kind of wonderful talent he comes with. Vengeance! Wonderful talent. On the bright side, it's only 2 points. On the downside, I think it's an ability. I don't remember its ability. Let me read it. When attacking a ship at range 1 during the roll attack dice step of the combat phase, you may discard this card to roll up to +2 additional attack dice. If you do so, when the attack is completed, your ship suffers 1 normal damage for each additional die you rolled. This upgrade may only be purchased for a Ferengi captain assigned to a Ferengi ship.
Or lore.
Good old lore. I could see lore.
Not that you... No. Not that you ever want to assign this talent to anyone.
It's cheap. Suicide build?
Tell me again how good you think Hayes is as a captain, Will.
Hmm?
Tell me again how good you think Hayes is as a captain.
Who?
The one that came in the NX pack.
Who?
Yeah.
Because this is just Hayes, you know. This is basically Hayes.
The heck does Hayes even do again? I don't even remember. I was thinking more along the lines of Decker. But yeah, no. Not a thing for me, but I mean, I can still keep up the appearance that things can that cards can be created equal, right?
Okay, wait, I got it. Okay, do you know who wants this talent?
Hey, this doesn't cost an action.
Lore on the PWB Ajmer.
Ooh, so then you can get some rerolls off of it too.
Yeah, by damaging yourself in the face. This is an awesome strategy, you guys.
I love damaging myself in the face.
Oh my god.
But yes, I feel the upgrade, the Ferengi limiting upgrade, was just completely not necessary for this in the first place.
It's not like anybody's going to run it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a reaction to conditional surrender, but who knows?
Because this is so much better than conditional surrender.
Oh no, I'm not even going to debate that. I'm just saying I think they said fool me once, yeah, etc.
Yes, just in case the next Ferengi talent, because clearly it's the Ferengi talent part that makes it ridiculously broken.
Right.
So based on this, there's something I want to discuss with you guys that we'll do between ships. But if you remind me about that, I'll see if I can remember. We will continue with this ship though first, and moving beyond our lovely talent of vengeance. By the way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everything in this is unique except the weapons.
And the weapon is terrible. Don't run this weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Thoughtmaker.
the good news is you don't need more than one.
Thoughtmaker. All right.
Ooh.
Here's the card that helped make the championship, and is probably the most interesting card in this pack. Probably it is. I'm just gonna go right out there and say it is.
Yeah.
During the planning phase, after every ship has been assigned a maneuver dial, you may discard this card to target a ship within range 1 to 2. If you do so, look at the ship's maneuver dial and change it to any of its 1 or 2 green maneuvers of your choice. That maneuver dial cannot be changed, nor can its player look at it until it is that ship's turn to activate. The target ship's player may place an auxiliary power token beside the target ship to ignore the new maneuver and not move that round. This upgrade may only be purchased for a Ferengi ship. Stupid Ferengi limitation.
Quark.
I missed that the first time I read it, but
Quark.
you and
Yeah.
your Quark.
Quark can bring it.
Maybe.
But besides that, just this card on its own.
Yes.
There's some similarities to fake messages. Difference being the range that it's effective in.
Yeah. The winner actually ended up saying that had he not used this in the mirror match, he would have used jammed messages instead. So that's the card I naturally want to compare it to. I honestly think it's about 6 and 1/2 dozen the other, though.
Mm-hmm. The question is whether you want to use this when you're not in range to attack or when you are in range to attack. And the other thing about this is, you know, it has the built-in "you can't fly me off the board" countermeasure, where you can stay still and take a power token instead. Which some have suggested you can use it on your own ship if you wanted to do a 0 maneuver. But beyond that, for the 4 points, I'm not sure I really need it for that. Yeah, it's an interesting idea.
You know, the ability to change it to any of the 1 or 2 green maneuvers. Faked messages means it's going to do a 1 straight, which is not always exactly what you need. The main reason to do this is to put them in a position where you can use some of your closer range upgrades, usually on a different ship. In other words, the way the winner of the Portland regionals used this was he flew his Ferengi ship out ahead of his cube and made the other ship's cube fly into a position such that his cube was able to go in there and Croesus to nab barrel. Or his Croesus or something, I don't know. But
now, did the opponent actually take the maneuver, or did the opponent use the full stop instead?
And the frustrating thing is his write-up doesn't tell us that.
Gotcha, because there is a choice here. And that choice means it's not perfectly predictable, but it still can be mostly predictable.
Yeah.
It's not quite as reliable as faked messages.
Yeah.
Most of the time, even making your opponent stand still can still be beneficial.
Mm-hmm. But if you're talking about something like the cube, like the difference between a full stop and a 2 forward is a range increment and a half. And if you need something as precise as like Croesus, you can't afford that kind of disparity. That's what I'm going with anyway. Definitely does have its uses though. Do I still got you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I put you all in a deep state of thought.
Yeah, I mean, basically, this card is a card where I'd have to test with this a little bit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't just knee-jerk evaluate this card like I can with Bach or something. You know? It's an interesting ability that's practically unique in this game, and it's different enough from jammed message or faked messages that I'm going to go ahead and say it is pretty much unique. It's hard to evaluate. I want to see it used.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good card for the blind ship, if nothing else. If it doesn't prove to be useful on anything down the road, at least it's good on the blind ship.
Yeah, because generally
is.
because of that last line, this upgrade may only be purchased for a Ferengi ship. Not a lot of ships are going to see use with it.
Right.
Quark.
If he works.
Yeah.
Look, I do feel the need to point it out. And hey, since we're probably not getting an FAQ between now and ever, it may be up to your TO's discretion.
I was going to say, considering that Tanalos doesn't work with faction unique upgrades, I am pretty sure Quark doesn't either. At least that's how I would go about it.
And the difference is, the major difference is Quark explicitly says, and this was actually explained to me when I thought that combat vessel variant wouldn't actually work because of the cross-faction penalty. But somebody explained it to me that the tech upgrade under Quark isn't actually deployed to your ship. So, in other words, with Tanalos, it is. So, Tanalos doesn't override the text that says you can't, deploy something. Tanalos explicitly says, first of all, it can't refer to a specific ship or class of ship. But those also go on the ship. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Pardon me.
So here's what we're going to do. Everyone who's watching today, if you're on Facebook, every time WizKids makes a post about Star Trek Attack Wing, ask them if they're going to do an FAQ update, please.
Yes, I am definitely in favor of that plan. Actually, even do it on the HeroClix stuff too.
I would say someone posted a link to the designer's website where apparently that Andrew runs or something, but I mean, frankly, it's WizKids games. I'm going to hold WizKids accountable for it.
Yep.
Beyond that, though, we move on to our Photon Torpedoes. 4-point Ferengi faction. 5 dice, range 2 to 3, no special ability. This is just a standard torpedo now that the Ferengi now have access to.
Not great, not bad.
It's nice that the Ferengi have access to their own torpedo at least.
Yes, they needed that for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
That'll boost their attack a little bit.
Term.
If you can find a way to use it with the Kraton, the prize ship, I mean, I think you could do, unless the Kraton only works on primary attacks.
Kraton should work on anything. Let me double check. I was just looking at it. And yes.
On attack die, so yeah.
You may run, yeah, it'll work on anything. The problem is, how the hell are you going to do that with actions?
You're not.
You can always target lock a
some of the
previous
new
turn.
cards spoiled in today's preview that we're not going to talk about, but whatever.
Yeah.
Will, by the way, I noticed something very important in the text of one of the preview cards that was not shown. But the article text mentions really briefly that Deanna Troi is a captain disable.
Yeah, I said that when we were talking about it earlier, didn't I?
Maybe. I don't know. Whatever. We'll talk about it later.
All right. Last ship of this pack, Kazago. 2-point crew. As an action, you can discard him to place 1 evade token and 1 battle station token beside your ship. You cannot perform an evade or a battle station action as a free action this round. Or, he has a second action, you can discard your current captain card and treat this card as your new captain. While Kazago is your captain, your skill number is 4. Alright, so starting with the first part of his action, along the lines of the full alert ruling, you can take battle stations or evade as a normal action, and then find some way to make Kazago a free action and still end up with extra double battle station tokens or double evade tokens or something like that, if you really wanted to. His other action, discard your current captain card and treat this as your new captain. This does not come with any of the interesting additional rules text like came with admirals or such that say you get rid of any captain-related criticals. So if your captain is injured and Kazago kills him, Kazago is now injured as well. On the other hand, when Kazago is your captain, you can still discard him from being your captain and still use his other ability. We just want to discard all the captains and have a ship flying itself. Sound about right?
Yeah.
First officer. First officer.
He's a built-in first officer. without an upgrade or really a very useful action. I suppose. Well, I suppose 2 points for evade battle stations. That's technically your normal action and a free action. So it's about on par with things like what was it, Bajoran Militia or McCoy. 2 points for a very specific extra action for 1 turn.
Plus, he gives you that battle station that you don't normally get. So he's not entirely useless. For 2 points, he's not bad.
Mm-hmm. Like,
Yeah, he's definitely. I mean, he's honestly, to me, he's probably the most playable Ferengi card besides the missiles and the Kraton itself.
mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, even if you just judge him by his first action and think of his second action as just some kind of weird super situational gravy, I mean, he's not bad for the cost.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I would still run him, but he could find his way into some tier 2 lists or so.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing a Ferengi pure list build because, you hate yourself, this is definitely a card that's going to fit its way on there somewhere.
Hey, I know plenty of people out there that are waiting to be able to run a Ferengi list.
Terry, for one.
I know, right? My TO for another before we had to move Attack Wing Knight on him.
Yeah, so it's out there.
So
yeah, this is one of those blind boosters that has me scratching my head.
Mhm.
I'm not entirely sure what to do with it.
Well, as a blind booster, take Thoughtmaker, take Unique, take, I don't know, the Captain or something, and go. Maybe even Photons. But,
Mhm.
I think Will said it best. It's a good blind booster. It adds chaos to your meta, and that's a good thing, in my opinion. It makes games a little bit less. It makes games a little bit more unpredictable.
Yeah.
And all of this to me is a good thing. So this looks like a ship that is, as a blind booster, this is genuinely going to add fun to the events where it shows up. As a ship release, meh.
And maybe that's the point. I don't know. Off the top of my head, I might go generic Photon Torpedoes, Thoughtmaker, and Kazago. Just for variety.
Yeah, from my end, there's basically only 2 ways to really run it. Either you're running it with Thoughtmaker as the Thoughtmaker for the what am I looking for? For the versatility of it, just to screw with your opponent, or you're running the Marauder, Bach, and Vengeance and Kazago just to get the biggest single attack out of it you can. Or even Marauder, Photons, and Vengeance. You can't fit all that though. That's the unfortunate part.
You can't. Yeah, you can on generic, but
I mean, you can still get 6 attack out of the main weapon with this, with the Marauder, Bach, and Vengeance. And you're not really expecting this to do a whole lot of survival in the first place anyway.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I mean, I would almost certainly run the Thoughtmaker variation. Disruption that can't be metaed against. There's no meta against Thoughtmaker right now, not even Dissipation Field or Costs. Disruption that can't be metaed against is very powerful, especially if for some goddamn reason your opponent isn't running Voyager or the Borg. Because I can't think of a ship in the game that doesn't have, aside from the Borg, of course, that doesn't have a green 1 or 2 bank maneuver. And banking when you need to be straight or vice versa can really mess someone up. Not that you're ever going to see anybody who's running anything but really Borg after Voyager was so disappointing at Portland Regionals.
Yeah. All right. So, Box Marauder, does this make the Ferengi faction as a whole playable?
No.
Tournament viable? No. Playable? Yes.
It's fun, though. And that's all we have for that one.
Okay, Will,
Thought-
you
thought-
asked us to remind you about something between ships.
Gotcha. Let's see. Before that, one question from the chat. Thoughtmaker, lure your opponent to the table edge and force them to fly off. That would be wonderful, if not for the second part of Thoughtmaker, which they can look at their maneuver, see it's going to put them off the board, and they can choose to do a 0 instead and take a power token.
What he might have been saying was put them in a position where their next maneuver will take them off, but the same thing applies. If they're intelligent enough, they'll just see that any maneuver they take after that will put them off the edge. But with that said, if you think you can trick your opponent into taking a maneuver where next turn they won't be able to do anything except fly off, yeah, absolutely, that works. You just need to have a little bit of thought making in real life on your own too.
Mm-hmm. So, a little bit off topic right now. We were discussing something about, you know, the designer going AWOL, or talking about the designer should get the FAQ updated and all that. Does it seem possible that we have someone new in charge of Attack Wing right now, instead of Chris, just because we think it would still be Chris because he was the last one we heard of? Because of all the things coming out right now, there are a lot of added captains with add an extra slot of a certain type. There's a lot of upgrades that are radically different than some of the other things that have come out in the past. Like, does this lead to the hand of a different designer, maybe?
You know, I was actually thinking as I looked over the Enterprise E preview, which yes is up, and we'll talk about it at some point. A couple of things were odd. Number one, they previewed a captain, not counting the admiral, a captain and 3 crew. Of that captain and 3 crew, only one of them didn't add a slot. And second of all, I think, Will, were you the one who pointed out to me that it was odd that the starter Enterprise D is called the Enterprise D, but this one is called the USS Enterprise NCC 1701E?
Mm-hmm. That's definitely a far different naming scheme than they had done before.
Yeah, this is... I had never considered what you asked, but there's no evidence for it aside from conjecture based on upgrades like this, but now that you say that, I don't know. That's interesting.
David?
It would explain a lot of things.
Would explain a lot of things.
I don't know though. I don't like to play into conspiracy theories, and I'm not trying to say you're being a conspiracy theorist about this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the lack of WizKid's presence is disturbing.
Mm-hmm.
I find your lack of presence disturbing. Oh, wrong universe. Sorry.
Like, I'm starting to wonder if there's even more and more power creeping coming into the game. But, you know, beyond just thinking maybe there is a different designer, like, I just wanted to throw that out there. Like, I don't know if that would make it good or bad or what it would actually mean for the game as a whole. But power creep is you got to be careful with that word, because keep in mind that there are a lot of old upgrades that are still getting played a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I know Andrew moved on to D&D Attack Wing, and I know WizKids is probably putting a lot into that release because of, you know, there's probably way more D&D fans around the world than there are Star Trek fans, sadly.
I would fervently disagree with that.
You think so? I don't know.
I would say when it comes to people who are going to buy board games, though, it might be a lot closer.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, there have been thoughts that this was just the prelude to get D&D Attack Wing right, but you know, that's not something we really need to go on here. We're here for this game, and we're gonna keep riding it through till the bitter end or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully.
But yeah, so minor digression.